Hey everybody, welcome to day 94. We are reading Luke chapter 10, verses 1 through 24. And so what we see in this section that we read today, Jesus is sending out what they call the 72. And so we know from just a little earlier when we talked about disciples and apostles and the 12, Jesus actually had a lot of disciples. Disciples just meant followers of the teacher. And so he had a lot of disciples that he narrowed down to his chosen 12. And so once we get through all of that, we see now that Jesus is choosing 72 of his disciples to go out and spread the message to others. And he sends them two by two, which I think shows one, that we're better together, but also talks about not only like safety, but also encourager, somebody to keep each other accountable, a witness in terms of, what's being said, and just overall can be much nicer when you have two people to go out and to share the word. And what he says here is that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. So he knows, and we talked about this sense of urgency that he was recognizing, and this urgency included getting the gospel spread as quickly and to as many people as possible. And so he knew between himself and the 12 disciples, they needed more people spreading the word. And this definitely still rings true today, that the harvest is plentiful and the laborers are few. When we look at the big picture, the global scale, there's plenty of lost people that we need to seek out, that we need to share the gospel with, maybe just invite to church. There's plenty of opportunities for that. So when we think about, competition between the local church, there really shouldn't be any competition between local Christian churches, because our goal should all still be the same, which is to seek out those who are lost and bring them to the knowledge that is Jesus. And then we see Jesus talk about, it says, woe to the unrepentant cities. And he even talks about how those that reject the word, it would be worse for them than for Sodom. And Sodom is a reference to the Old Testament. There are two cities called Sodom and Gomorrah who God destroys due to their sinfulness. And he's saying that if any towns that you come to and they all reject you, it should be worse for them than for Sodom. And then the 72 end up returning and coming back with lots of joy. And it says, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. And they were very excited that they could see the power that was given to them through Jesus, and a little bit maybe feeling powerful at the moment. And so Jesus quickly reminds them that he witnessed Satan fall from heaven like lightning. And this is not a literal fall. Satan is not slow motion falling from the sky to earth, like we might picture it in a movie. What he's referring to is how quickly he went from being an angel of the Lord to rebelling and becoming who we know as Satan today. And he says, I've given you authority, but that's not what you should rejoice in. You should rejoice in that your names are written in heaven. And definitely there are going to be times where we're serving others and we feel very joyful and really excited about all that God's doing. And we have to be careful not to let our pride get in the way and remember that it's God doing it and not us. And if anything, that we rejoice in our salvation, which leads us to the last section that we read today, which is where Jesus is rejoicing in the Father's will. And it just says, Thank you that you have hidden these things from the wise and understanding and revealed them to the little children. And then in verse 23, it says, Blessed are the eyes that see what you see. For I tell you that many prophets and kings desired to see what you see and did not see it, and to hear what you hear and did not hear it. So imagine as David is writing, as Isaiah is writing, they are only prophesying about what's to come, and to be able to actually meet the Messiah, the disciples and those who he comes into contact with are definitely at a privilege to meet him. And not only that, we are at a privilege in our modern time as we are on this side of the crucifixion and resurrection, and so that we can truly understand the joy of our salvation, and that we can be grateful that the Spirit called us to it and it was at the Lord's will. So I hope you're encouraged by today's word and that you have a wonderful day today. Bye.